Hello everyone, welcome to this layout training of the cockpit of the Airbus A320. Today we are going to see how to manage one and how determined places and buttons, switches that are on the aircraft are supposed to do. So let's start. I'm going to start to explain the overhead panel. So there is the overhead panel. The first thing that we have to do here, what it should do? Great. Turn off the batteries and turn off the external power if available. If it's not available, let's simulate it. You turn off the batteries and turn on the APU. And one question too, what does the APU do? What is the purpose of the APU? Yeah, that's right, to perform electricity to the aircraft when it's not, for example, external power, or to start up the engines. For example, you may have to have this you may have to have the APU on to turn off to turn on the engines, and to turn off also, because if you turn off the engines without APU, the cabin will be all cold and dark. So basically, if you turn off the switches of the engines, your cabin goes like this, turns off a lot. Well, let's wait. The APU turns on, and let's continue. Next, let's suppose that we have external power. Next, we will pass here. What we should do over now here? Yeah, this is a little bit obvious. We have to turn on the crew supply, and next you can do this like this and test the CVR. Okay. Well, this is not going to intervene anything to your simulation. Okay. So let's continue. Next, one question: what do these buttons do? Yeah, exactly. They test the alarms of the aircrafts. Next, you may have to turn on these three switches, but there is an order. What do you think that it's not the order? Sorry. What is the sequence that you think that it's necessary to turn on these ADIRs? Yeah, if you go to a pilot and say 1, 2, 3, he's probably to kill you. Obviously, the sequence is 1, 3, 2. Okay, and it will approximately to 7 plus than 7 minutes to turn on. It is displayed here on this ACAM. Okay, so yeah, in this video I'm not going to explain MCDU, but there is the buttons. For example, we have this that it will appear on flight plan, and that you can put manually, or you can request any request, like this requests data from your sim brief, like it's on the moodle. You have the link of the sim brief flight planner that brings you here the things and the waypoint. You just have to go there, and put the seeds, runways, and yes, and let's see. I think, yeah. What does these two switches do if I put him to the right side? When I should have to turn on it? Exactly, in the majority of the airports that are equipped with VORs, like DM-A10s. I'm going to show you, for example, in Lisboa. I don't know if I have here in my flight plane is from Lisboa, but probably, yeah, in Faro is to no, a lot of them. So, for example, you look, majority the approaches that are composed to RNP or ILS, you may have to turn on these VORs, okay? And you may think, ILS it's just probably a lot of persons that say, ILS is just down to the approaches. Negative. When you are departing from the centerline for my aircraft, you are catching the ILS, but not redirection your aircraft, you know. So yes, the ILS always is there, and you may have to this switch to VOR, or eventually IDF. That it's a little bit rare, but you have a lot of approaches types that are type of the ADFs that it's going to be explained in the next sections of the moodle. Okay, well, this is the autopilot display, and yeah, next question is, in this PFD, which is the metric that it's used to scale the speed? Is this kilometers per hour or another one? Yeah, good job. It's they are metric at knots, and universal units to use on the aviation. In the aviation, the speed is measured by T knots. Okay, and here, this is the altitude display. Which is the metric that it's used to size the altitude? Yeah, good job. Feet. Also, it can be used by meters, but it's rare. But in the display it's always on feet. Okay, well, and this barometer, what does this do? Yeah, if you see, let's see the local QNH at Alverca. We go here. There is the METAR, and the QNH is 1013, so current QNH is correct. And for example, look here, and I'm going to change the values of the QNH. Look, you are seeing, when I put more barometric pressure, when it's more barometric pressure, it does more altitude. You know, the PFD altitude climbs more, and when I reduce, it goes more down. Okay, yeah, and this is the first things. Yeah, and now how I want to turn on this radar meteorological? What are the positions? What I have to switch here? Yeah, good job. You may have to put this in position 1 or 2. It's equal. It depends the side that you fly on the aircraft, if you go on the right side or the left. So put 1. Weather plus T, turbulence, weather plus turbulence, and you put this PWS automatic. Okay. Yeah. And one of the most important things, if you are going to fly in a network, you should have to know this. What is this called? And yeah, what is this called? Good job, it's a transponder. And what is the function of this device that it's equipped on the aircraft? Yeah, that's correct. For example, an ATC on the network may have to give you a transponder code if available, an ATC on your region. For example, let's suppose that the ATC gave me transponder code 3354. Okay, so you put clear on all of the units and you put again the code. Okay, and next, pay attention on this switch. You may not have to put on auto. Auto, it's just going to turn on this device transponder when you are airborne. Please don't put auto, okay? Just put when, correction, just put on, okay, because the operations on the airports may have to do, a lot of airports are required to have the squawk mod Charlie, that it's the name of the position on in aviation is squawk mod Charlie, to, for example, to the controllers can see you on their radar, okay, and you just put this switch tier traffic and resolution when you are entering on the runway, okay. And pay attention to make sure that always this switch is in position on, okay. For example, the transponder now is on, okay, but we remain this position on and we put this on off like it's now, and this, well, it's correct, it's not appearing, sorry, it's not appearing because the ERS are not allowing that, and maybe because I don't have the engine started, okay. So yeah, let's ignore this fact, but it will appear you in the ECAM a message orange saying transponder not available. In this case I shouldn't have to have the transponder set it because I don't even have the engines on and I'm not going to do pushback on anything else, okay. Oh, and now I can explain one thing. What do you think that it's these squares in here? Yeah, that's a VOR of Lisboa. So if I put this on the position VOR, you may have to see that the position goes to these things here, point to Lisboa, okay? Lisboa VOR. And next we can go here to this part in the left side of the APU switches. And what does this switches do? What are the function of these switches? Yeah, they are lights, and you may have to turn on the lights that are supposed to be on in your conditions, okay? Strobe lights you may have to turn on just when you enter in the runway or cross the runway or anything else. The beacon lights you just have to turn on when you are going to start up the engines. It's an advisory to inform the ground crew and something else to inform that you are initiated to start up the engines, okay? Navigation lights, position 1 or 2, it's equal, I don't see any difference in the simulator, okay? And these are the landing lights, that are the lights that are on the sides of the wings, you know? It will, in the Airbus case, it will appear here. Let's see, for example. You see? Yeah, that's it. The beacon lights are red lights that are on the top of the aircraft. This thing here, and they are also above the aircraft. There. Okay. Yeah, this was the session, and good luck to the other models.